What's up, guys? Technically Tom here. So today, in this video, I'm going to be talking about the things that I've noticed that have degraded with this device right here, the RedMagic 8 Pro Plus, after about 4 months of use. And we're not really, it's probably more like 3 months, but yeah. And then a lot of it is also me complaining about Apple because, well, you'll find out. But yeah, if you guys want to show some support monetarily, you can hit that subscriber button because that'll help me out. So make sure you subscribe. But also, if you feel like it, leave one of those, like, it's not super chat, but it's some kind of chat where you can leave money with a comment. Yo, I'd appreciate the shit out of that. Because honestly, if every single one of you donated $1 I would have enough because I can definitely get 800 views. I would like, or 1,000 views. I can definitely get 1,000 views, right? So if each one of you donated $1, I could literally get a RedMagic 8S Pro and have it to guys with new video content, like brand new video content. If 1,000 of you donated $1, like $1, that's all you gotta do. If 1,000 of you donate $1, I will have enough for the RedMagic 8 Pro or 8S Pro Plus. So it's going to be a bit of a tongue twister there, but yeah. So if you feel like donating, send your boy $1. Because we can get the videos rolling on that 8S Pro even sooner than September. So it's really up to you guys if you guys want to show us some financial support. If not, at least subscribe, leave a comment what you think. What is up, guys? So today in this video, I wanted to essentially just talk about the long-term effects of usage on this device. And now this is not necessarily that long. We're coming on about 4 months of usage with this device, but I kind of wanted to give my experience, especially with the 8S Pro being announced soon, and with Nubia pushing these devices pretty much having about 2 a year. It seems like when Apple stopped doing the 15, like 15S, 15 Pro, you know what I'm saying? Like, not 15, but you get what I'm saying. When Apple pretty much just stopped having like an S device, I feel like they continued to keep going, and which is cool. It's cool having 2 devices a year. But yeah, so I guess the first thing that I've noticed and that I will say is because of my desire to hack and mod and change everything possible about the phone up, it's essentially got me to a place where I've gotten malware on this device about 2 times. So because of me getting these I guess like getting malware on my device, I've had to restore. And how can you tell? You can start to tell when there's a lot of lag on your device, or apps are crashing, or there's things like that are happening. And essentially being able to kind of detect when your phone has something like that, just natively based on a lack of performance, is something that you guys will develop over time with just owning more phones. But if you don't know what to do, that's about time for a restore. A simple way to restore the phone, what I do, okay, so I have all my photos backed up with Google Photos, right? And this also helps with my like transition when I get iPhone and stuff like that. So you get Google Photos, so you back up all your photos to there. And what you want to do is also be signed in with Google for your contacts. So essentially, when I think of what I want to bring over from an old phone is I want to bring over my contacts. I don't want to bring over my photos. So if your photos are in a cloud storage thing, you're fine. So you don't need to worry. You can always back up your photos. Excuse me, sorry about that. You can always back up your photos. And then essentially from there, you are able to... So sorry, Al. 1 second. Then you're able to also, if you have like the email attached, you can get all your contacts synced up. So restoring a device isn't going to be an issue, essentially. And that's how I switch between devices. Like, other than obviously popping out like a physical SIM, that's just how I switch between devices. So if you're wondering how I always change up things and have multiple phones, like I just keep everything important backed up, being photos and contacts, and everything else is second. Especially, everything is pretty much cloud-based right now. So yeah, essentially that's it. Yeah, so that's how I do that. So if anything, I've experienced malware, and I don't know if it's device security, but it's also probably just because I do things like I download like Rainbow Six Mobile when it's in beta, or Call of Duty Warzone Mobile, and I go to these like links where people have an APK, and I don't know what they're attaching to the files that I'm downloading. So obviously I'm running a risk doing that, and most people I don't think are going to do that, but I do that, and so that's just kind of a consequence of my desires to use the device and like what I like doing. So I've had to restore the phone 2 times because of malware. So it's not that security is an issue, it's just that you really need to have some common sense here if you're not willing to take the risk. And I mean, a software restore completely fixed everything. Another thing I've noticed is I have a lot of dust collected in here, and now I'm going to do a video in about September of me cleaning this. And it'll be good because I think it'll be like a long time use period. And I feel like it'll have like the most dust in there, then you can like see effectively that the back is clean. But I do have a lot of dust in here. I'm just using this phone regularly. I think it's just from my hands and stuff, and it just drops in there. What I would say is that I notice so I guess another thing too is I notice, I don't know if the fan is running more, I guess like sluggishly, maybe not at all, and I might just be full of it. That could be completely it, but I have noticed, I think it's just because of like the added dust, and that the fan seems to be kind of not as efficient, if that makes sense. Like I'm noticing my phone it's not hotter, but and this could just be me overthinking things, and it could not be true at all, but I have noticed the fan not cooling the phone down as much as in the beginning. But then again, I am playing games that are console games, as they're starting to port full-end console games to phones now. There's no like middle ground or mobile app version. Like they're pretty much just starting to port the main game to a phone because they're powerful enough for it. It's not to say the fan doesn't work, by the way. The fan works great, but I have noticed that. Another thing too is like the glass is super strong, but I dropped the phone on accident and I chipped it. So like I hate this. It sucks. Like I hate dropping devices, bro. It was like a heartbreaker when this happened for sure. But yeah, so I chipped it. The glass didn't break, so I mean, props to pretty much this phone for having really strong glass. I definitely try to take care of this device, especially since I use it a lot, but of course a drop's gonna happen. It's not that I guess like the graphite or whatever it's made out of is weak. It's just that I think the glass is just really strong. And so it's probably stronger than the actual material they use in the outside. But it's not like everything's going to break. And it's not like it's going to break on the first drop. This was a pretty high drop. And so, yeah. And the back has Gorilla Glass 5. Like, this doesn't even have, like, the newest Gorilla Glass. And it's perfectly fine. And it hasn't broken or anything. And it's fantastic, right? So yeah. So, another thing I've noticed. Let's see here. I've noticed more, like, glitchiness just in terms of me playing certain games. Like I've noticed more crashes with games. It's not horrible, and it's not like it might be due to me getting more malware for re-downloading the same files. If I'm being honest, it's probably due to my own user error. But I have noticed it's not like bad. It's not like bad. It's not, it's not really sluggish. Like everything works really well. But I've just, for instance, like this only happens when I'm pushing the device. Like I have a lock on the 120 frames per second, and I have Diablo mode enabled. So essentially, because of this, it has made for just kind of it's pretty much just pushed this device. And I would say that me running this, I don't know if it's actually damaged the processor or not, but it does give you like a warning before you do these things, because there's no processor fluctuation, and if it's running at its literal max setting, you're going, and it's not the max. I think this thing goes to 3.28, but it stays at 3.19. It's very close to the max. So like a processor not being able to have fluctuation, it's going to generate a lot of heat regardless. So like right now, for instance, if I had the other thing enabled, like it wouldn't be holding this thing consistently at 3.19 gigahertz. But because of that, I do have it as that. I have the 120 lock, and so things aren't being like moved around or adjusted or whatever. And I think that is also why I'm seeing glitchiness in games. People are probably going to hear this and think like, wow, an Android phone can't run without glitches at this power? Pathetic. Like, okay, that's not what I'm saying. This happens to any kind of processor if you run it like clocked to the point without having any kind of fluctuation. It's literally just what heat does to any kind of hardware. Heat is the destructor. So while the fan is moving along, it does work well. And so I said it kind of slowed down earlier, and that is just something I noticed. I don't really, maybe it hasn't at all, because it's not like the phone feels hot. The phone doesn't feel hot. It feels cold. Like it's always cold. Like that's the thing, bro. I noticed even how much the fan helps, because I was running a game I was running RuneScape, for instance. I was running RuneScape at like the max graphics and everything, but I didn't have the fan on. And I noticed how much the heat affects one running at that speed, like how much the heat affects the phone and the processor and everything like that. And yeah, so again, I notice how much is affected. And yeah, but so when I turned the fan on, it like immediately cooled it down and it ran way better. So in terms of like, there are small little things that I'm noticing. I think it just happens with any kind of phone. Like any phone for even just a few months of use is going to get some wear and tear. It's gonna feel a little bit slower. It's not gonna feel as fresh as it was day one. Some positives though, I haven't ever noticed an issue with the battery. And in terms of a positive, the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 is still kicking hard, bro. We got like the 16 gigs of LPDDR5 RAM. That thing kicks ass. You know what I'm saying? So realistically, like, this is a kick-ass device. And what this device has turned into is the mid-range 8S Pro, if you're wondering. So they basically took this and just resold it as the 8S Pro. So if you're thinking of getting an 8S Pro, you need to buy the variant with 24 gigs of RAM. You can obviously get this, but I mean, you shouldn't even need to you don't need to wait for the new one, because I don't think there's anything new besides the new RAM. I'm sure there's some like small things that they've added, but it really just feels like a RAM boost, and it's a great RAM boost, bro. 8 gigs is pretty impressive. But to be honest, it's hard to find things that I don't like about this phone, or it's hard to find kind of like issues, but for the most part, it always works. I do find myself having to like sometimes close and like restart applications, and that's just, I feel like it's just a genuine part of, I think it's just a genuine like thing that happens when you own a phone. Like, I mean, but when I say these things too, don't think that don't think you're not going to get this because in 3 months' time the phone's not going to work. That's not what I'm saying. The phone works as well. I'm just saying I do notice things when I push it to its very limit. I notice things like, some occasional crashing, but without it being at its limit, things run fine, but they don't run as well as they could. So it's a bit of a trade-off. Yeah, so basically what I was saying about that is only when you push this thing to its very max limit and go past like what this thing recommends, like when you enable Diablo mode, it literally it warns you about how it can affect your device. And so that's what I've noticed with that. But when I run it at just Rise mode, I don't notice issues. But what I will say, in comparison to phones with like something like 12 gigs of RAM, like the S23 Ultra, what what I'm on right now, like comparatively, running a game like RuneScape at the max graphics, this thing handles it so much better. Even through like 3 months in, like I said, there's like little glitches, but that's just because I push it to its max. But even on a high clock setting that has fluctuation, like Rise mode, this thing just outperforms 12 gigs of RAM. I think, to be honest, like what I'm thinking is, my thing is, I really love this device, okay? I really enjoy this device. Like, this is awesome, bro. The haptic triggers, like, bro, this has been helpful in games. Like, I've literally just, like, had a great experience with this phone. It is probably the best experience I've had gaming on a phone ever in my entire life. And it's probably due to the fan. Obviously, the processor is great, but this fan definitely keeps things in line and running well. But yeah, it's another thing too is it's hard to find things I don't like about this phone. Like, that's why this video is hard to make, because it's also hard to talk bad about a device I like so much. Like, that's the thing. I love this device, guys. Like, I love this device. This is easily my favorite Android phone I've ever owned. The cameras, I don't even use them, bro. Like, I literally don't use them. I don't take pictures. I take pictures with my S23 Ultra. When I go out and do stuff, I'm always going to bring the S23 Ultra. And so if you're more of like an outdoorsy kind of person, or just go outside way more, I mean, obviously get a phone with a good camera, because that's what you're going to be doing, taking pictures. That's what that is for. But yeah, I don't even use this camera. I'm sure it's fine for like basic shots on the back. It takes good photos. It's good for straight up recording, but anything extra, it's not really that great for. So obviously go with the S23 Ultra for that. But yeah, in terms of gaming, like 16 gigs of RAM makes a huge difference. And I'm just pretty hyped for the eventual 8 gigs of RAM boost on the phone. Like, that is just going to be insane. So another thing too is, when you go buy like a gaming phone, like, buy the most expensive model. Don't sell yourself short. People will sell themselves short and they won't get the best model because they don't need it. Like, why not? You know what I mean? You're spending $200 for a better experience on a device that you're going to be using every single day, probably staring at the majority of the day. I don't understand why you can't invest $200 more in yourself by having a better phone experience. Like, you get what I'm saying? And obviously, I know what it's like to have money being tight, but instead of just, I don't know, I mean, if you can take the hit, I would take the hit. Like, if that's something you can do, you should do it. Because it's worth it to have like the best phone out. And so, like, another thing too is I just know this, bro. Any Apple fan that's watching this that just is looking for any reason to hate Android, because they're always doing it. Like, these people are fucking annoying, bro. Honestly. Okay, but like, for instance, with the 8S Pro out right now, there are literally comments like this. So I literally looked under this. I've made like a post about this in the community feed. So if you want to kind of comment on it, or comment on this video, you can directly reply to that. It might be more detailed conversation. I don't really know, but you can go over there. But people were saying that, like, someone said Google really botched Linux to the point where a phone would need 24 gigs of RAM to run. That is not what's happening here. Like, these people will do whatever they can to make Android look bad, because they want to justify their purchase of having literally a third of the RAM, like, and like soon to be like almost a third of the RAM, right? And then like soon to be actually a fourth of the RAM. Like, it is ridiculous. And I want to emphasize the importance of certain things. And also, I always see comments like this. I always see comments like, dude, so this one only gets like 1 year of updates, bro. Okay, please listen to me here, okay? 60 to 70% of Android updates were pushed into the Play Store, okay? So you have system features and things like that are literally in the Play Store. Google did this so they don't have to push an OTA update, over-the-air update, every single time. Like, every single time. So they can update little individual features. And they always do it, bro. They're always updating these little features. They're always making changes. They're always making improvements, bro. I get way more updates on this because of the fact they push the majority of their software to the Play Store. Like, people are thinking like they only promise 4 to 5 years of updates for over-the-air updates, but they always promise 6 years of security updates. So what you're going to get, you might not get like the newest version, like the newest number version, but that's the thing. Like, you gotta kind of separate yourself from. You need to separate yourself from this attachment to a new software update. Okay, hardware is more important than software, and I will stress it 100 times over. You can have nice software, But if your hardware is shit and it doesn't work, it's going to crumble. And that's just the thing. Like, and I know everybody wants like a ton of years of updates, but if you're going to be buying this phone, you know something about gaming, you need to learn how to flash ROMs, because it's not hard to root a phone. It just takes it's a few lines of code after plugging your phone in. So you can unlock the phone, you root the phone, you download a custom ROM. I get you might not want to do that, but I mean, why are you buying a gaming phone? I guess to play games, right? But my point overall, but like that option is still there, okay? So there is software support if you really, really want or desperate for like a number update. You can always do that. XDA developers, it's not hard to do if you just want to kind of go over and try to figure it out. There is that option, okay? But like I said before, 60-70% of the assistant features were pushed into applications in the Play Store. So that means old phones. I'm talking like, I'm talking any phone that can connect. Like this phone right here, that is a phone from 2013. This thing is 10 years old. That was a flagship 10 years ago, the HTC One M7. Great device, right? A flagship that is 10 years old, I can go on there and I literally am seeing updates for the phone. Even after HTC is no longer a company and is not pushing over like full software updates, Google's individual system apps are still being updated. Their core features in phones are still being updated. And that is something that you will always have with Android. You always have a majority of an update in essentially in the Play Store. And I know what you might be thinking. You might be thinking like, oh, well, I don't really want that. Like I wanted to have an update like that has everything. But realistically, the only reason, so this is another thing too, is Apple takes what Android does in one update and stretches it out to 3 updates. That's the thing. There's way more features and way more things pushed with Android updates. Okay, so so when Android says 5 years of updates, it's honestly probably 2 cell phones of Apple worth of updates that you get with. Obviously, it'd be more than that, but in terms of just like within like what you're getting is you're getting like 1 year. If with 1 year of Android updates, you're getting an equivalent of 3 years with Apple, based on how they just limit what you get in software. And everybody has their complaints, but don't let software derail you from the important thing. It's not like because you don't have the newest software that it automatically just stops working. It's like this is just what your brain does. It's what anybody's brain does. Whenever there's something new, your thing you have immediately doesn't feel as good, okay? And honestly, Android 13 is great. And if you're stuck with Android 13, I don't understand what the issue is. You're not going to be like made obsolete. You know what? This phone doesn't really get some like apps and stuff because you need more than Android 5. But that thing is 10 years old. Are you literally going to keep a phone for 10 years? You need to upgrade your fucking phone, okay? If you're going to keep a phone for 10 years, you need to upgrade your phone. That thing should, honestly, I'm surprised if you have a phone for 10 years. Like, I'm surprised it hasn't taken a crap, iPhone or Android. You know what I'm saying? You need to upgrade your phone. Another thing too that I just want to emphasize is hardware is so much more important. If you have really, really awesome hardware that's really high spec, you're going to future-proof yourself. Software doesn't matter if the hardware is outdated. If there's a new demand for hardware for games, your software optimization isn't going to do shit. Your hardware is not going to be up to speed. So what you need to do is you need to buy a phone with better hardware. And the better hardware is what's going to support you. Because if you have Android 13 running on a phone with 16 gigs of RAM, you're not going to run into any fucking issues. And when I say there's like little glitches, it's not even bad. It literally means like there's like a little frame drop here or there. And that happens with every single phone. This guy, Geeker1, he's like a really great YouTuber. Essentially, this guy, he has like in his like comparison of the A16 versus the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. If you haven't seen that, go check it out. It's a really great video. In his comparison, he like talks about he shows a like it's like it looks like a frequency thing, right? Or it looks like sound waves. You know when you record sound and like an audio thing, it looks basically that, but it's tracking frame drops throughout the entire like. They recorded it through a gameplay like Genshin Impact. They compared it with the other phones. And this having a fan in it has absolutely dropped the heat, which means no throttling. So you're not getting throttling in your processor. And so what does that mean? That means if you have a fan in your phone, it's going to keep the phone cooler, and that means that hardware is not going to degrade as much as it would otherwise. And so that's the thing. You might get 6 years of Apple updates, but you sitting here telling me that like just because they downclock their processor, it's really gonna protect your battery from basically like crumbling after 5-6 years, dude, your phone is gonna be garbage by then. I'm just being completely honest, and I'm sorry to break it to you, but dude, 5-6 years with a phone, and you might say, well, my phone is great. Well, I mean, okay, so do you text and call and watch an occasional YouTube video? I guess it's okay for that. But how are you supposed to know what the newest, fastest thing is if you've only had that for years? Yeah, it still works. But this is not the phone for somebody who's looking for a phone for a necessity. It is because it'll work really well. But it isn't because this is a gaming phone, bro. You want to buy, like, you're buying this for games. I play games in this thing, bro. It's like a little Android game console that has a mobile network, and you can text and call on it. Like, you got to think of it like that. Like, when you're buying a gaming PC, like, think about like what you look for when you buy a gaming PC. You're looking for specific specifications that are super powerful. You're not really concerned with cameras. You're not really concerned with like for instance, right? So when you're buying something like this and you want this phone, you need to consider, are you somebody who plays games or not? Because that is where this thing's focus is. This is where this thing is going to shine, is when games are being played. And if that isn't like your primary focus or the primary reason why you're getting this phone, you should look elsewhere. It's an okay phone, but I mean, like, in terms of like other stuff, it works well. It's fine. Like, everything works. Okay. So like the thing is too, it runs Android. This is what we got to think. If it has Android on it, a newer version or just like a relevant version, if it has high specs and Android, it's going to work well. It's going to be able to run like, Somebody was literally, and I it's okay if you don't understand a lot about phones. It's fine. I mean, it's not like I knew everything about this stuff the first day I walked in and got a phone. I was like I literally didn't get the Nexus 1, and I bought the T-Mobile G1 because of a slide-out keyboard when I was in middle school. And the person was like, don't you want this one? It's like literally better. It just came out. Like, and I was like, no, I want the slide-out keyboard. So like, kind of keep that in mind. So it's not like I knew everything about phone processors and everything like that right away. It's just, that's not how it is. So if you're learning, don't worry. But somebody literally asked if a phone that can run games at high quality could run Facebook or like social media. Bro, of course. What? Dude, like, how do you not understand the difference that a game is more demanding than a fucking app? If you can run the game well, it can run the app just fine. Like, you get what I'm saying? Another thing, too, is that people always love to sit and say, Android is laggy. Oh, Android? Android is laggy. It's bro, you haven't had an Android phone if you seriously think it's laggy. Like, what are you talking about? Like, this guy called it lag droid, but I literally clicked on his page, bro. The dude it works for Apple. And I guarantee you he's had an iPhone 4S for 10 fucking years or more, and then finally got like a new iPhone 14 Pro Max, and the 6 gigs of RAM is like the best thing because his little fucking turd from 2010 couldn't hang on anymore. Like, that's the kind of people that sit here and say Android's laggy, okay? Kind of people that don't know what they're talking about. Like, the people who genuinely think Apple geniuses are geniuses. Like, the genius part, bro, that is such a stretch. I don't know. I really can't stand people who will sit and just talk shit about Android. It is so irritating. Android is not laggy. I don't get lags. My phone doesn't lag. It has a frame skip every once in a while, and the app will crash every once in a while, but that's because I'm boosting the shit out of it and pushing it past its limits that are recommended. Like, Apple would never even let you do that. The fact of the matter is, you probably saw a laggy Android phone because you looked at a phone in 2011. And if you're from a place where phones are expensive, you probably even saw a shittier version of a phone that's not the newest one, and so that's your impression. A lot of people, unfortunately, are from places where their currency isn't too great, or their currency, not everybody, but they just don't have the best currency, so they can't really buy much with what they have, and it's pretty unfortunate. I do apologize if you're in that situation. But what I am saying is, like, the Android phones around you are not a reflection of how Android is. Like, you need to learn about specs, okay? You need to understand how they progressed, and you need to basically know the importance of hardware. Because whether you like it or not, whether your car has a fucking stereo or interior seats, the engine is still what makes it go. And that's the same thing that's happening here. It doesn't matter if the car gets a new upholster, if you like, or if like you get like nice new leather seats in your car. If your engine is a turd, it's not going to work. And so that's what you need to keep in mind. So like, think about that as updates, and then think about the physical specs. Like, I mean, the physical hardware in the phone. I'm talking processor and things like that. That is what's important. It's we're talking about like a phone engine here. You know what I'm saying? It's like an engine. It literally runs everything. So that's what I'm talking about. Android phones are not laggy. A phone with an octa-core 3.19 gigahertz or 3.28, whatever we're at with this device, an octa-core 3.28 gigahertz processor with 16 gigs of RAM and 512 gigs of ROM will not lag, especially with a super clean version of Android with barely anything in it. Like, it's not going to lag. Please use your brain. And to be honest, and there are things that I'm dumb at, so don't be super offended, and I apologize if you're offended, okay? But it's just the truth. Like, use your brain, bro. Think about it. Like, are you really going to blow a bunch of money on a fucking iPhone, or are you going to literally just break outside of, like, this? Like, everyone is, like, a lot of people don't understand things about phones. Like, people only buy what their friends have, and then they only repeat certain taglines or certain phrases. You can always spot a fucking Apple fanboy too, bro. They're always the ones saying, Android is laggy. Bro, it's not laggy. It doesn't fucking lag. I genuinely have a worse experience on my iPhone because of the throttling from games, because that thing overheats. And it's a 14 Pro Max. It's the newest fucking biggest deal, but I'm tired. 6 gigs of RAM is not acceptable, bro. And like, that's the thing. This has 10 more gigs of RAM than that. Like, come on, bro. And this isn't even the newest one anymore. The newest one is 24. And people are literally sitting here saying, like, I can't believe they literally just gave out this person's mouth. It is the craziest thing. Like saying, and this person, I said it earlier, but I'm going to say it again because it's just so absurd. I can't believe Android needs 24 gigs of RAM to run. You got to be kidding me, bro. It's not that. So it's like the same thing of thinking that just because they upgrade just because the PS5 is better than the PS4, it's like saying that like the PS5 only has those because they need those specs to run. They only made a PS5 because the 4 couldn't run, and now it finally runs. No, it's upgrading. It's making it faster, making it better. Like, I want a fucking giant ass table for my RAM where I can run a ton of stuff. Like, I want a really fast processor. I don't want to be restricted by Apple. I don't want to have to enable JIT to play a fucking GameCube game for a 20-year-old console because Apple thinks it's piracy. Who cares? Like, no company is still cashing in on their old apps, like, or their old games. Like, who is cashing in on fucking Diddy Kong? I don't think anyone, you know what I'm saying? They're like, who the hell's cashing in on Super Mario 64? I say, like, Nintendo's not making that money anymore. You know what I mean? Like, you know who's making the money? The person selling the game. So I might as well just get it for free. I don't understand. It's really ridiculous. But the thing is too, it's like people used to knock Android for like the physical, the outside, because they just don't understand anything about internal specs when Android phones genuinely had the best specs on the market. And like the SmartCats guy said that, like, he always says, oh, well, 6 gigs of RAM on an iPhone, I feel like 8 to 12 on an Android phone. That's not true, bro. Like, don't spew that garbage, bro. It's such a lie. And I feel like he gets endorsed by Apple. They probably pay him money. I'm not even joking. They probably pay him money to talk highly of the product, and they probably give him incentive to straight up lie, because I've experienced the mediocrity of the iPhone, and that is really the phone with the problems. That's the phone that was not going to last more than 3 months. My iPhone lasts this long. How many times did you restore? I never restored it. What'd you do on the phone? Oh, well, I watched porn and YouTube, and I text, and I play a game like every 5 minutes, once a year. Like, oh, well, I'm sure your phone is going to last. Like, people, it's not fucking 2008, okay? We're not working with beta software here. This is Android 13. There have been 13 additions, like overall big additions of Android. There have been small point and incremental updates, but there have been 13 giant versions of Android. Like, keep that in mind, guys. You know what I mean? Like, just stop listening to every single person that will sit and just praise iPhones just because they're iPhones. Who cares? This phone has 16 gigs of RAM. It is a beast. Apple will probably never put 16 gigs of RAM in their iPhone. Well, it doesn't need it. I'm sure it doesn't need it, bro. That's what they keep telling you, so you keep spending more money on the same fucking phone. Brother, I guarantee you they're not going to up the RAM at all. Well, their software is so optimized. Bro, they make you focus on the software because they're not upgrading the hardware and they don't want you to complain. Like, another thing too, this guy was sitting here literally trying to say that a hex-core processor is better than an octa-core processor because, well, this company realized that their shitty octa-core processor, they like moved from an 8 to a 6 with bigger transistors. Or I don't know the literally names of what's on the chip. But what I'm saying is, why would 8 cores not perform better than 6? It logically does not make any sense. Like, okay, maybe like on the chip it has bigger transistors and it makes it run well, right? Or whatever the case might be. I don't even know the actual name for everything. So I do apologize. Not much of a physical, visual hardware guy, but what I am saying is if this guy is genuinely trying to convince me that this is better, all it tells me is that this guy's just trying to stick up for his iPhone and like justify his purchase, or like basically just have like some kind of thing to talk about. It just genuinely feels like these people will make anything up to be in Apple's corner. And fuck Apple. Like, dude, look at this shitty ass iPad I got right there. No, I'm kidding. You know what? One thing that Apple does well is they make good budget tablets. I said this in post, so if you read this, apologies. I guess my apologies for the redundancy. But, obviously I'm just going to think about things again. So, they make good budget tablets. It's a decent budget tablet. It's like, now it's like $250 and you get 6 gigs of RAM. That is what you should be paying for 6 gigs of RAM. Not $1,400, $250, bro. The new version of like this phone with 24 gigs of RAM, like 24 gigs of RAM in it is only going for $1,000. Apple, like, people want to sit and say the iPhone 14 Pro's starting price was $999. Bro, it's $1,600. I don't know where you're getting this information. Like, and they go up to $2,200. Like, Apple is ripping you off, and they literally will they put the same phone out with nothing new, and they call it a day because, well, there's software support, so that means that the phone is supported. All they're doing is changing the number. You do realize that you're also getting the same kind of update on Android. Who's to say what's in the software update? Yeah, you know what? And people want to say that like Apple does like 5 to 7 years, bro. My iPhone SE from 2016 just recently was dropped off, but it's not like any of the hardware, like of the software was changed. It looked exactly the same. The apps they didn't even change the app themes. There weren't new features added. They literally only updated the security, I think. Like, these updates are nothing because all their distraction is with the brand new one. And their point is that they're just telling you what you want to hear. That's like what you need to know about Apple. Apple is going to tell you what you want to hear. I am going to tell you like what the fuck is actually real and realistic. And what you need is you need to get a gaming phone if you play games, okay? You need to get a nice phone with a lot of RAM. You get a phone with a nice processor and a lot of storage. And you need to put money into a phone if you want money back. Okay, if you want money back. If you want quality, if you want the best top-of-the-line thing, you need to put money into it. Okay? If you want the best Android has to offer, you need to put money into it, bro. That's just facts. That's like really, it's really how it is, bro. And it's not, I'm not saying that like a phone that's not the highest end phone is gonna, I'm not saying it's not gonna function, but you're not gonna get the best and most like current like software or hardware experience on a phone if you don't get the newest and latest greatest tech. And I get if you're into minimalism and you're into that whole lifestyle, and I'm not, that's for you. But realistically, it's hard to shit on this phone just because it's your boy Pete. Look, watch, ready? See, like, can I do that on an iPhone? Fucking probably. but still, I don't know. I mean, just guys, is there like so much lag? Look, guys, fucking so much lag the laggiest device you've ever seen, okay? So look at all this lag. Oh, look, lag everywhere on, lag droid. Android is laggy. Oh, so laggy. Do you see all that lag? Do you see it? Because I see it. Oh, lag. Hey, guys, look. I have hours of content on this device. Like, literally tens, probably close to 100 hours of content I've made on this device. And if y'all have been sticking it through, you know how good this device is. And you know that when people talk about it, they just don't, they've never used it. Bro. Like, look how good this is, bro. This game looks gorgeous on here, by the way. If you want a Machinarium, if that's how you say it, if you want a tutorial in this game or you want some gameplay with this game, let me know, because it's a really beautiful game. But like, where are you seeing lag? It's nowhere. Like, yeah, I'm obviously it's like a puzzle game, right? But and these are really cool. I'd recommend getting that game if you can. But look, so you can continue a little window. It's pretty tight, right? Like, everyone, honestly, I feel like people are gonna be all butthurt about my like what I'm I feel like people are just gonna be butthurt because I don't have a lot to say that's negative about this device. But it's not a bad phone. I bought a high-end device. Like, I spent money on a high-end device, so I'm getting high-end features, and it's not gonna be, there's nothing wrong with it. Like, so that's why this video is hard to make and why I just started complaining about Apple, because, like, what else is there to talk about? You know what I mean? Like I've had a few, like, frame skips, which barely is, like, I just, people, it's irritating. It's just, I don't like the cult mentality of Apple users. I don't like that they just sit in their little happy circle, like, it's the happy apple farm. Everybody gets a new apple every single year. It's the same apple, but it's great and you don't need anything else. This is all you need. The happy apple farm apple. The Apple phone. Happy Apple Farms Apple. Like, bro, it's like you're drinking the fucking Kool-Aid, bro. Like, why are you convincing yourself that you don't need something that has the top end specs? Like, stop saying that. And then what these people will do is they'll just basically be mad because they didn't get the best experience that they wanted because they didn't put the money into it. And they're sitting here complaining about Android as if your mid-ranger or your low-end phone from 5 years ago. Like, I'm sorry your phone isn't the best, but dude, it's a perfect example of how, like, people just lie about Apple, or like, and like lie about Android too. Like, literally, when I say they're motherfucking lying, they're lying about the quality. Bro, my buddy's iPhone 12 recently gave out, but a phone from the same year, OnePlus, it was a OnePlus 7 Pro. The device with it, that phone is still going. It still works great. My friend's using that because the digitizer on my friend's screen just stopped working. The iPhone 12 Pro Max just gone, dude. It stopped working. Like, for people to say that iPhones, like, okay, great, Apple has all this software support, but if the fucking screen doesn't work, then I don't know what to tell you. It's kind of hard to update the phone. You can't even click on it. It's just, people act like these phones and products are infallible, and they're not. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired of everyone getting in the fucking comments. Like, not you guys, obviously, you guys are fucking tight. But, like, I'm talking specifically about Facebook because it is the place for technologically illiterate people that don't understand shit about any product, that make generic comments and just think Apple's the best because it's silver and shiny and it's fucking new and it has an apple in the box and it's a white fucking box. That's what they like. Look at this. It's nice presentation. Oh, wow. All we need to do is show this tiny little sliver. Nothing else. You know what? This phone, and I can't say shit because this shit's $250, okay? It's cheap as fuck. But the point is that people are settling for mediocrity and paying a premium price for it. And they're doing it because people around them will sit and act like it's a good idea for them to buy their fucking product when it's not a good idea. It's not a good idea, guys. And that's just the truth. Like, it's not a good idea. And it's just, stop buying Apple products, bro. Fuck that company. Like, I'm done, dude. I'm done. Like, the fact they're focusing on a bubble color when you could just change the fucking bubble color. Like, who gives a fuck? Who cares? Who cares? Just fucking, like, stop buying shitty-ass Apple products. Bro, this is better than an iPhone by a million miles, okay? This is much fucking faster. It's much more consistent. It works way better. It takes the same fucking quality photos. It literally has an ability to unlock as an under-display camera. It has 16 gigs of RAM, octa-core processor, better than the hex-core processor, and literally better than a hex-core processor, and literally better than 6 gigs of RAM. Okay, these are important things. I can get more storage for less. Instead of paying $1,600, I'm paying $800. This is a much better device. It has haptic triggers. It has a fan. It has built-in fan. It literally has like a metal outside aluminum to graphite chassis that's really freaking awesome. It's nice. It has 5G. It connects. These phones are fucking awesome, bro. Android phones are fucking amazing. And you guys are just missing out because you don't want to take a risk. What risk? They're nice phones. They're nice phones. They work well. They have always worked well for me. Stop like sitting here and wanting, like, people just want Android to suck, and they want people who are fans of Android to talk badly about it. Well, why don't you talk about the 70 million bugs everyone had? Because I didn't have these bugs. And I don't know where the fuck they're pulling that out of their ass. I don't have these issues. I don't have, like, when my phone did this, it did 7 backflips and then it fucking fell. My phone, it had, it got really hot one time and then it overheated and then the battery fried out and it was like the first day with the Android phone. Android phones suck, dude. Bro, this is what I'm talking about. Like, they make shit up. I swear to God, like, people shit talk a phone when they know they can't fucking touch it. Like, I genuinely, the amount of delusion these people have, it's all these egocentric people. It's people who are probably genuine covert narcissists. If I'm just being completely honest, that is genuinely what this attracts. Because if they have an iPhone, it's a status symbol. But it's a piece of shit, okay? It's garbage. They know they can sell you their turd, okay? Because if it has a metal outside or it has stainless steel, even if it's a really shitty version of stainless steel, it looks nice. That's all I care about. Even if the phone sucked. The epitome of Apple was literally, I was literally doing a hotspot for my computer. And, like, I have a Mac, so I don't fucking hate Apple completely, but I hate fucking iPhones and people who defend iPhones to tooth and nail. I have had the newest iPhone, the best one. It fucking sucks. I'm sure it does your basic shit and it sits in your pocket, but damn, like, my wife was literally sitting here saying that her phone was shocked that my S23 Ultra didn't overheat when it had a hotspot going for a long time. Her phone, she says, gets nuclear hot. Dude, a hotspot? That iPhone is getting hot over a hotspot? Within 3 years, the iPhone's display goes out. Like, literally, iOS glitches all the time. It doesn't work. There's really nothing you could do. My buddy's iPhone literally froze and got stuck, and it just couldn't do anything. I could not hard reset it. And then Apple plugs it into their magic fucking thing that, like, I genuinely think what Apple does is so Apple does this. They divert focus, okay, to things that don't matter because they don't want to fix main issues, okay? And then when essentially they're faced with the issues, they just make another thing important. When was nits of brightness important? Never. You could always see your iPhone, right? But now it has 2,000 nits of brightness. How many nits of brightness does this Android have, dude? How many nits? Only has 1,800 nits of brightness? Pathetic, dude. My iPhone has, even though I'm probably not going to put it that high anyway because it's going to hurt my eyes, and all I'm doing is looking at it all day, like, it drives me insane. I just don't know how you can keep drinking the fucking Kool-Aid and buying that shit device every year. Fuck iPhones, bro. I'm done. I can literally iMessage on here. I have no reason I literally have no reason for an iPhone. I don't want a fucking iPhone. They're shit phones, and I'm done with it, bro. Like, I don't buy into the bullshit luster that everybody talks about how they're amazing. It's a mediocre fucking phone. This thing stomps on it, crushes it, absolutely fucking destroys it. So much better. This is not the newest product anymore. It's ridiculous how there's a better phone than this. This thing is amazing, and now there's a better version of it that just came out. It's insane how tech progresses, but I'm not going to sit here and also coddle Apple, okay? Everyone coddles Apple and makes it and like feels like, oh, I have to talk good about Apple, otherwise people aren't going to like my podcast. Or, oh, Apple is not going to support me, therefore I'm not going to get support from tech companies if Apple is not supported because they're the best. Apple is the best. Fuck Apple. Fuck that shit company, bro. Like, fuck them, dude. I can't stand them, okay? And I can't stand the iPhone. And this thing is so much better. And I know for a fact, with me sitting here talking about this, people are going to look for the few things that I said I had 1 to 2 issues with, and it's not consistent at all. Like, not consistent. I've had this happen like once or twice. Like, they will sit and think that this is the entire experience. Android is so laggy. I would know because I've had the same iPhone for 7 years, and then I just upgraded to a new one, and it's such a faster experience because my phone's been getting downclocked. But battery preservation. What battery preservation, bro? This shit's clocked so low anyway, it's not even going to harm the fucking battery. When is Apple actually pushing battery tech that destroys the phone? Like, or not battery tech. When are they pushing tech that actually ruins the phone? Like, maybe they don't. But the reality is, those phones still get hot as fuck. But I'm not going to sit here and have my phone downclocked. This guy, like, in one of the comments, too, was saying, like, he's literally sitting here, he's talking about, like, he's like, downclocking? What, do you mean what people say when Apple's just taking care of the battery? Bro, Apple lost a lawsuit, and their response to losing the lawsuit was that they were doing it to protect your battery. It's literally like fucking Amber Heard. It's an Amber Heard response. That is what we're dealing with here. Apple is like fucking Amber Heard, okay? like straight up. Just a direct comparison. Just full of shit. And all they do is shit talk the competition. Doesn't make your phone good, bro. Doesn't make your 6 gigs of RAM any more fucking pathetic when a new phone from Android has 24 gigs. Like, Apple will never put 24 gigs in their phone. What Apple knows that they don't need it. I mean, I'm sure they don't need it because they don't need to be spending more money on you because you will be spending more money on them. You're getting sucked in and you're buying a shit product. You're buying the same thing every year. There's a reason why you don't want to upgrade your iPhone because they don't change anything. People are saying tech has stagnated. Tech has not stagnated. Apple has stagnated, and Apple is not tech. Apple is a status symbol, and you just stop buying into it because it's fucking stupid, okay? And if people aren't going to fucking talk to you because of your fucking Android phone, maybe don't talk to them. Maybe that's a good sign. You should just not fucking talk to them. If somebody didn't talk to me because I didn't have an iPhone, I would never fucking speak to that person again. What kind of dumb person are we dealing with here? You know what I'm saying? What kind of person are we dealing with here that will genuinely stop talking to somebody because they don't have a fucking phone? They don't have blue bubbles. Dude, you're a dumbass. Like, I'm sorry. I'm just being super blunt. But I can't stand these people, boys. I can't fucking stand them. And they're exhausting and they're annoying. And I don't want to fucking hear it. And I stopped talking about the flaws in this device because it's not a flawed device. It's a good device, bro. It literally outperforms literally everything on the fucking market. It's amazing. It works well. Face unlock works. Fingerprint scanner works. Cameras work. Literally fan works. Processor works, RAM works, storage works, Android software works. Like, everything works fine. And it outperforms things too. Like, there's a reason why I put my S23 Ultra, a more expensive phone, down when I want to play games. I don't play games on my S23 Ultra. I use this thing to record videos. And I text on it. I like using it as my communication device because personally, I really enjoy like the different settings of the haptic feedback. But beyond the point, I use this thing for gaming. This thing is a beast, and it is easily the best thing ever. And I really don't have any issues. And I was honestly earlier searching for things to like complain about because I genuinely was thinking, how the hell am I going to do this video? Like, this thing is a good phone. And the 8S Pro's coming out, man. So here's the thing, though. So I read a comment saying somebody bought like a 8 Pro with 12 gigs of RAM. Fine amount. But now that the new one came out, 24 gigs of RAM, there's a 16 and an 8 now. I guess, like, I don't know why 8 is the very minimum. It's kind of weird. It might be 8, 12, and 24. 8, 16, 24 probably actually kind of makes sense. You know, up by increments of 8. It makes sense. Okay. Anyway, but I mean, yeah. So, like, the new one being out, like, and you want to buy the best available. Stop selling yourself short. Why not get the best tech? Why not do it, bro? Why not? Like, just, I don't know. I think what you guys need to do is you need to realize that there's really no reason to pay for Apple products anymore. I feel bad if you got an iPhone. I really do. I'm not going to, like, honestly, if you buy an iPhone, I'm not going to say it was a bad purchase, but I think that, but it's not the people, okay? Like, the dickwads, yes, but if you own an iPhone, it's not like I'm like, oh man, you're the worst and you're an idiot. I'm sure you're a smart person, obviously, okay? I guess there's some redeeming qualities about those devices. But my point is, it's not the best, and the premium $1,600 price is not worth it, especially, bro, when they don't change anything. They just make it look like they change things. If somebody points out a flaw, they divert it, they don't address it, and they make something else a huge deal. When Apple was getting under fire for when, like, Tim Cook probably was let go recently, and I know this is the reason why. It's because everyone was getting pissed off at Apple about RCS, and Tim Cook did not respond well at all. Literally, so he said, I can't send quality videos to my grandma. Why can't you enable RCS so I can do that? He said, get your grandma an iPhone. The fuck, dude? Fuck you, okay? And I'm glad, fuck that guy, dude. I'm glad he got canned. And it sucks because he has so much money anyway that he could retire. He could retire on his money, and if you split that among other people, it probably could be. That probably equates to maybe like retirement for 1,000 to 2,000 people, easy. So your boy is set, okay? So him being let go is fine, I guess, but realistically, dude, that was such a shit way to go about things, okay? That was dumb. But notice how Apple was under fire for that. They never addressed it, other than responding with a smart-ass comment. And then now they record people's voices that are going to lose them. Like, voice recording wasn't a feature that was already there before. This guy's like, this is why I love Apple, because they do this and they do things like this. Like, dude, shut up. This guy's like a wannabe fucking. He sounds like that Lou guy from Unbox Therapy. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but that dude sounds like him, and I feel like he's just trying to be that guy so hard. It's pretty funny, but that guy's like, this is why I love Apple. Well, I don't love Apple, dude, because I haven't fucking forgotten about the fact that the kids are being picked on and they don't give a fuck. They can give a flying fuck about some random kids getting picked on, because guess what? It's all about money. They're a money-hungry machine. All they care about. They care about your wallet. They want the best presentation, and they'll give you mediocre products, and that's just fucking facts. And if you want a way better fucking phone for way less, get this phone. And this is my thoughts on how much I fucking hate Apple. And also the flaws in this device, which are, nothing. This phone kicks ass. And, like, I know I'm about to get 1,000 different comments from people saying, well, I had this problem with my phone. Well, dude, maybe you should just figure out how to fucking use a phone, okay? If your phone's running slow, clear the RAM, okay? If your phone is running really sluggish, wipe the phone clean, because you probably have some weird fucking virus on it. If a cleaning app doesn't work, restore the phone. You don't have to do this all the time. It's not going to happen all the time, but there are things you can do. And it takes 2 seconds. And use the backup method, like I said. Just have your contacts info backed up and you're good. So you have to reinstall some apps. Oh no. Like, big deal, dude. It takes a few hours to install all the detailed files. And, like, if you've COD Mobile, for instance, right? There's all those huge files, right? So, like, I get downloading that might be a nuisance and stuff, but with an iPhone, you have to do it too. Like, and Apple just, like, I don't know. So I tried to convince my friend to get an Android phone, but because all their cousins have iPhones and everything and they need the health updates, like then they're stuck in the ecosystem. That person is stuck, and it's a 13 Pro, and their 13 Pro is taking a shit and it doesn't work. Like, so explain that to me, okay? Because this phone will work, and I know it's going to work. I know this phone is going to work for probably 5 or 6 years, and it's going to be fine because of the hardware in here. Somebody, like, the logic of some people doesn't make sense. They're like, they put all this RAM in there because they know that Android is eventually going to take up all of the RAM. Okay, that's not how that fucking works. And if someone's doing an update and they're adding features, I bet you money they're going to make sure that it doesn't consume any more RAM than it needs to. They're not going to have software that consumes 24 fucking gigs of RAM, okay? And I don't ever think that's never going to be the case, okay? Like, people are just not smart when it comes to phones. And I'm sure and it's just, you get the people that like love and worship Apple are the narc types, like straight up. It's just a status symbol. They're all about status. They don't change, they don't waver, because they'll never admit they don't like Apple because it makes them look bad, like they made a bad decision. It's all about them. It's all about their ego. It's a surface level thing. Well, the iPhone looks nice and people like me more when I have an iPhone, so I'm gonna get an iPhone because it makes little clicks when I type, and it has 6 gigs of RAM. I've said the same thing over and over again, but Apple, you need to get your shit together if anyone's going to fucking respect you. Like, go fuck yourself, Apple. I'm tired. Thank you guys so much for watching. Appreciate it if you sat through to the very end for that rant that I had. And as you can see, there weren't too many things I talked about with this device, but I did talk about Apple fanboys and the things I don't really like about them and the things I don't like about their devices. And you heard it all. But yeah, so if you like what you saw, hit that subscribe button, because I'm going to keep it real here. I'm not going to be, I'm not going to follow some fucking trend and try to pretend like man, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like Apple makes good devices when they just don't. Like, their computers are fine, but when it comes to a fucking phone, dude, no thank you. And I'm not even yeah. Anyway, I hope you liked it. I'm sure a lot of people, hopefully this is like what you were looking for. I just couldn't genuinely find anything I disliked about the phone. It's hard to do because I just love this phone. It's a great phone. But yeah, also, if y'all weren't a fan of my smug attitude, apologies. I kind of get heated when I talk about that, but I feel like that's just like a part of my channel, bro. I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna be vulgar, I'm gonna be upfront. Like, I'm not gonna bullshit things. That's what you get here. You don't get bullshit. I'm not gonna fucking bullshit things. Like, you're gonna get real fucking reviews, and that's what I'm trying to do. You're gonna get real views, real content, real videos. Like, that's what I'm about, man. I don't sugarcoat shit, and I'm not gonna sit and coddle any device, man. When I say a device is good, I know a device is good, and I know how to read through people's bullshit when I actually get to experience iPhone after iPhone, having 12 to 13 iPhones, pretty sure. I probably had 14 iPhones at this point. I've had 14 iPhones. So you think I'd probably know a lot about iPhones, okay? And I know when they're shit, so you should trust what I'm saying. But yeah, let me keep it real on this channel. So yeah, if you liked what you saw and sat through this entire hour and the super long intro and outro, really appreciate you. Drop that subscribe, boys. We are so close to 1,000, which means your boy can get motherfucking paid. And we're going to be struggling a little bit more with these views because I don't have a RedMagic 8S Pro, and I know that people are going to be looking for that. Like, the 8 Pro is old news, boys, unfortunately. It is old news, and that's just the sad truth, boys. I got to figure out how to get this device as fast as possible. If y'all want to help, donate to your boy. Send as much money as you motherfucking want. It's all right. I don't, it's just, your boy doesn't have $1,000 to drop just yet. So, if you want to send your boy some motherfucking cash. So, I don't know. If you want to support the channel, because if I'm not gonna be able to earn it through views, hopefully I will. Yeah, just send that donation thing. And yeah, come subscribe. Like I said, thank you guys so much for watching. And later.